Well, good morning, everyone. This is the fourth class of our series, and we're very excited to have you with us. As always, I really want to thank our Elite, Premier, and Diamond partners. These partners partner with us throughout the entire year, and they're really part of the reason that we have the ability to do programs throughout the year. So our Elite partners are Franciscan Health and Ivy Tech. Our Premier partner is Horizon Bank, and our Diamond partner is 𝗧cie𝗱𝘆𝘆𝘀𝗀𝗃𝗍𝗃. I think Barbara's going to go to the next screen to show our committee. And one moment, please. Okay, so our Education and Networking Committee, we are looking for chairs for this committee. So if you're interested in being a chair, we'd like for you to get contact us. What does being a chair mean? It means you're in charge. We will, you're going to lead the meetings. We will help you with getting all the agenda and all the paperwork put together, but you'll lead the meetings. And I think both Mary and I don't know if Lisa is on, it's rather painless. But it's a great way to get involved, and you want to communicate with your committee, but we'll help you throughout the way. So if you are interested in being a committee chair, hi Lisa, it is painless, isn't it? I got my chat on. Does everyone else have their chat on the side so you can see what people are saying? So sign up and be a chair. It's just give us a call. So with that, Barbara, I'm going to turn it over to you because you promised this was going to be your best session yet, and I expect nothing less.
Thank you so much. So the reason why this is my favorite session is because back when I was a child, I was one of those kids who would come home with great report cards, but there would always be a note that said, talks too much. Right? And some of you may be able to relate where maybe you socialized more than you learned. And my mom would always joke with me and say, if you could get paid to talk, you'd have it made. And at that time, I never imagined that I'd be paid to speak and to talk, but now I am. And so what makes this my favorite session out of the four is taking what you love to do or what you're good at, or maybe you're still terrified of it, but people need to hear what you have to say, and actually being compensated for those skills. It's an amazing thing to be able to share what you know and have people compensate you for it. So I'm going to share with you a few of the different ways that that we can do that, and the ways that you can get started. And I'll even give you some quick, easy things to do, whether you've already been speaking or you've never spoken on stage before at all. I'm going to get you started today. So today's session is how to get paid to speak. So the first option, I'm going to go over, oh, I skipped that one real fast. I'm going to go over all the speaking models. There are a few different models of ways that we can speak on stage. So the first one is called free to fee model. Now, I want to let you know that the word free and the word fee are used a lot in the next 6 or 7 slides. So pay close attention to if there's an R in that word or not. So free to fee model means that you speak for free on somebody's stage or at somebody's event or in somebody's Zoom room, whatever it looks like. You've offered to speak for free. But the organizer said that for you speaking for free, that you may make a small offer to the group. So you come in for free, but you're able to make a small offer. Now, a small offer is generally $197 or less. It could be much, much less. It could be $9 if you want. So somewhere in that area of making a small offer. So you have the opportunity to make some sales, even if just relatively small, by you volunteering your time to speak. So that's the first model. This is typically the more popular model when people first get started. In fact, when I spoke with your organization, the lovely ladies from your organization, and they asked, what's the cost for this? And I said, you know what, I'd be happy to speak for free if it'd be okay if I make an offer. Right? And it's not a salesy offer by any means. You guys have heard me make a couple of small offers over the couple of weeks. They were by no means salesy. It was, hey, if you're interested, here's another way that you can get something from me, right? And so that is a really popular option in the speaking world. The next one is what we call free to free model, which means you speak for free and you can only make a free offer. So that means that rather than trying to take people's money at the end or asking for money, you're giving something away for free. So for instance, I actually used this a couple of weeks ago when I told you guys you could download my free 100-point checklist, right? To see if you're showing up consistent and credible on social media or online. And so that is a free offer, which means you can get that no matter what. You don't have to pay for it. So I speak for free. Oh, and I see I have a typo there. So it says speak for fee. This is wrong. That should be speak for free, and then make a free offer. And so that is also very popular for newbies because a lot of times somebody who's a newbie in the speaking world, they don't feel comfortable making a sales offer at the end of their presentation. So they feel more comfortable just giving something away for free. Now, what's good about giving away something for free is that that's a way to get people into your database or your CRM. So for instance, if you were to download my PDF, I now have your email address, which means that I can still reach out to you in the future because I know that you're at least interested in something that I have to offer. Now, be careful with using people's email addresses because you definitely don't want to spam them, but you want to be able to get something from them in order for them to get your free offer. So if it's not money, it should be an email address or something that you can reach back out. The next model is the fee to fee model, which means that you are paid to speak and you can make any offer you want. So this is like if you see a Tony Robbins presentation, right? They've paid him a lot of money to be on that stage and he could sell you anything that he wants, right? Because the organizer knows how valuable having Tony Robbins there is for their organization. So they pay him and then they say, make more money if you want. Sometimes he'll offer something for free, sometimes he'll offer something for paid. He mixes it up sometimes even in one presentation. So that's that particular model. And then we have the fee to free model, which means that you are paid to speak and then you make a free offer. So this is similar to, I know that a lot of them seem like with that R in there, you've got to just notice if the R is in there or not. So this is being similar to, just like I said with Tony Robbins. So he sometimes does make free offers. There's lots of times when he says text free to 56879 or whatever the number is, right? And then you get this whatever he's giving away for free. And not just him, just anyone in the speaking world. Watch the people who you follow or watch on YouTube or on podcasts and just start paying attention to them and you'll probably be able to pick up on which model they're using. In the speaking world, you want to have a combination of all of these different models so that you can be both profitable and get exposure and also grow your database. So you want to have a combination of all of these. And then there is what is called the split fee model, which means you're invited to speak. I may pay you for it or you may be doing it for free. You make an offer and you get paid. But as the organizer, I get a cut of that, which is called a commission. So maybe I hire you to speak and then you make an offer for $100 and maybe my cut is 10% or 20% of that. So every $100 ticket that you sell, I'm making 10 or 20 bucks depending on what my cut is. And that varies. A lot of times in this model, it ranges from anywhere from 10 to 50% for the organizer. And it depends on the speaker and also the organizer. If the speaker has more influence than the organizer, they're not going to have to pay as much of a commission, right? Like Tony Robbins isn't going to have to pay a 50% commission to speak on someone's stage. Likely, if they do take a commission from him, it's probably very small, like 5 or 10%, which if you know Tony Robbins' prices, that's still a nice amount of money for just having him there. And then the next option is on your own stage. So what's cool about this, and this is one of my favorite ways to do speaking, is you're speaking on your own stage. So many times it's your own audience who already know, love, and trust you, right? You may or may not have other speakers. I have events, some events it's just me, and some events that I host, I do bring in other speakers. And you may make an offer. It might be free or fee, either one that you choose. This is called selling from stage. If it's my event and I'm making an offer, I am selling from stage. And then as the organizer, if I do have other speakers, I can take a commission from what they sell if they sell something for a fee. So in my experience, this has been my most profitable way to make money as a speaker, is actually to host the event myself. Because as you become more influential, and it's really cool because your organization uses the word influential, so many of you women, I imagine, are already influential. But as you become more influential, people will actually pay you to be on your stage. And I know it sounds crazy, but like I've had events where people have paid me like $200 to be in front of my people who are already qualified buyers, who are already the target audience for this particular group of people who's coming to speak. I bring the audience, I do the marketing, I rent the room, I do everything. All the speaker has to do is show up, speak, and if they have something to sell, sell it. So they pay to be on my stage, then they come, and if they do sell something, then they also pay me a commission of it. Now, that also gives me an opportunity to speak from stage, because as from your own stage, you're typically the featured speaker, right? So you're typically the last speaker of the night, which means the last speaker of the night usually gets the best deals, because people in an event will typically, they'll come in with a budget, and sometimes they spend it early on, but sometimes they want to wait till the event is all the way over before they decide who to buy from. And so the last speaker of the event typically makes most of the sales, because by that time they may have forgotten which other person they might have wanted to buy from. So speaking on your own stage gives you leverage, which actually makes it more profitable for you in a lot of ways. All right, so before we go on to the next section, I'm going to open up for any questions on the speaking models. Does everyone understand that, or did I just confuse you?
I think you were pretty clear myself. Does anyone have any questions in the chat box? Looks like you're good to go.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I was trying to be, yeah, as clear as I could, because that free and fee looking the same. But now that you guys understand the different ways that you can be on stage and get paid, or get leads or get exposure, those are the three things I focus on when you're deciding which model to use, right? Am I going to get exposure from this? Am I going to get leads from this? You know, that's with your free offer. Or am I going to get paid for this? Those are the three criteria. If I'm not going to get any of those three things, I don't know if I want to do that event, right? When I talked to Mary and Andrea and Sherry, and they told me that you guys, you know, would likely have about 50 people on these calls, I'm like, yeah, I want to do this for free. I want to get in front of 50 influential women. Yes, please, right? So so know what you're getting into before you decide which model to do. All right, so let's move forward. Next, you need to have a presentation template, and we'll go through this one by one. This is basically your speech, how to put your speech together. So the very first thing is grabbing their attention, right? In order for somebody, you guys may have noticed this on just you thinking this to yourself. Somebody walks out on stage. Us as human beings, we have already decided within 5 seconds what we think about that person who walks out on stage. So the best thing you could do as a speaker, when you first walk out on stage, grab their attention. Best way to do that is by telling a story. Make sure that your story is in relation to what you'll be talking about, though, because otherwise it's just confusing. So you walk out, you tell a story, grabs their attention. From that story, then you go into your points. It's best to have 3 main points. If you have too many, it sometimes can be overwhelming. If you have too few, then it can seem like you're not giving enough value. So 3 is kind of the sweet spot for most speaking presentations. So know what those 3 main points are. You can have sub-points underneath, but make sure that you have 3 clear main points. And then what is your invitation? So what is it that they're going to receive by attending your presentation? A lot of times this can also serve as your title. So for instance, one of the presentations that I'm doing in a couple weeks, I've titled it How to Create a Consistent and Credible Brand. right? That's the title. The 3 points that they're going to be learning is creating consistency online, creating credibility online, and how to use consistency and credibility to make profits, right? So those are the 3 main points of that particular talk. And then what is your call to action? So you need to tell them not only what their next step is, but how they should take that next step. So if you want them to text a certain number to get on your list, or to fill out a form, or to go to a website, or to book a call with you, whatever it is, you need to tell them what to do and exactly how to do it. And you need to make it as simple as possible. If you just give them a website to write down, and then they're supposed to go to it when they get home, the chances are they're not going to ever go to it. Maybe 1 or 2 people out of 100, but most people won't. They'll forget, life gets in the way. You want to give them their next steps that they could take right that second. So you could have a QR code on a screen behind you that they could scan, or you could have a business card that has a QR code or something on it that all they have to do is scan that to get to wherever you're taking them. Or what's really popular nowadays is that text service, right? So text this word to this number, and then it automatically puts them into this system that will send them whatever offer you're having, but it will also put them into your database. It's really simple. So know what your call to action is and plan for these things before you even step on stage. And then know how you will motivate them to take action now, because some people will wait, especially if there's 5 or 6 speakers. They might wait to see if the next speaker has what they want more than what you have. So you've got to motivate them to take action right now. So you could say for a limited time, or until this date, or today only, or the first 3 people to do this, or the first 5. Or if you do this now, I'll also throw in this as an extra bonus. Or anybody who does this today will get 50% off. Or you've got to have some kind of way to make them say, okay, I've got to buy this right now, because if I wait until tomorrow or next week, I might be too late, right? I might miss out. It's the fear of missing out. So make sure that you have this down. These are the main things you need to know at the very least for a speech or a presentation or whatever you want to call it. I use both terms because I actually did Toastmasters as well. So it's called speech there and presentation in the speaking world. But so know at least these things. There are a lot of other things that you could be worried about, like your visual aids, your nonverbal communication, where to stand on the stage, and all these different things. But all of that is not important unless you can get these things. So don't worry about those other things right now. Worry about these simple things, the basics. In fact, I actually just was asked to teach a speech class for high school students that starts next week. And I started thinking about, like, what is one thing that, like, I didn't learn in speech that would have helped when I was in high school, right? And so I'm taking it back to the basics for these kids, and I'm super excited about it. So start with the basics, and then you can build upon your skills as you grow. All right, any questions on that before we move to the next part? Andrea, any questions in the chat?
Yeah, so Karen asked, she said she missed one of the models after 𝗙 to 𝗙. One of your slides.
I don't remember which order it was in, Karen, but this will be posted on YouTube by tomorrow, so you'll be able to rewatch it then, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is that it?
Yes, it is.
All right, perfect. Let's move on. All right, now you need to have a plan if you're going to do this right. So the first thing, remember last week we talked about your target market and your message. So this should already be done. You first need to know who you want to speak to and what you want to tell them. Because if you're just speaking to anyone who will listen to you, I wouldn't be surprised if you're not getting exposure, leads, or money, right? Because you're speaking probably to the wrong people, the wrong audience. So you need to know who your target is, who you're trying to get in front of, and what message you want to tell them. Again, when I was asked to speak to you guys, I got excited because one of my segments that I do in my business is I teach women entrepreneurs how to grow, right? So if I could get in front of 50 women entrepreneurs or professionals all at once, that's a win for me, right? The reason I said yes to teaching that speech class for high school students is because another one of my goals down the road in life, it's not here yet, but this could help me, is to help the youth become better leaders. And so if I could teach them how to speak, that's a good way to help them become better leaders. So it's more of a long-term goal, but it will get me closer to that goal. So I'm always keeping an eye on who's my market, what's the message that I'm going after. In everything I do, not just speaking gigs. Create your message in multiple time increments. You guys have heard me say before that in my mastermind group, actually we're in my mastermind group meeting today. I had to step out of it to do this for 1 hour, but we meet for like several hours, so I'm not missing very much. But we actually did this time where we were like, okay, let's get our message, our template, right, down to these different increments: 30 seconds, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 60 minutes. Those are sweet spots, because technically, if somebody says, Barbara, you have 45 minutes to present, well, all I got to do then is take my 60-minute presentation and cut a few things out of it, and then leave those for people to reach out to me, right? The parts where I was going to use those, I could say, oh, I don't have time for this, but if you'd like more info, give me a call, right? It gives them a reason to reach back out to me. If it were a 20-minute presentation, I could take that 15-minute presentation and I could just add one more story to it, and it will make it 20 minutes. Or I can open it up for Q&A, right? And then, of course, your 30 seconds, you could always stretch into 1 minute if needed, by just adding a little bit more personalized stuff to it. So you can always revise these on the spot if you've got them already kind of memorized in these time increments. Practice your message many, many, many times in front of many, many people. So first start in front of the mirror, and then practice in front of others, and ask them for feedback and tell them that you want honest, open feedback that will help you to improve. Because a lot of times when you ask for feedback, people think that you just want to hear that you're good. But like when I was in Toastmasters, I went months in Toastmasters of people just telling me how great I was, and like nobody was giving me usable feedback. I knew there was things I could improve on, but everyone's like, oh, you're so great, and they just talked about how great I was. And then finally I actually did a speech about how to evaluate someone, because I was like, listen guys, I know that I'm good. I want to be I was like, I know that I'm good, but I want to be fantastic, right? So tell me what I can do to make you enjoy my speech more. And people were so like taken back by it. And the funny thing is, in Toastmasters, we're supposed to give evaluations, and we just weren't giving them right in my club. And after that speech that I gave, our evaluations became like the best evaluations in the area, because I was like, listen guys, quit telling me I'm great. Tell me what I suck at. And I did get really good feedback that you guys be careful what you ask for. Once I asked for that, people were like, you pace too much. You do this, you do that. And I was like, ouch. But I asked for it, and it helped me to be a better speaker. So be careful what you ask for, be ready for what you ask for, but use that to improve. Don't get stuck in, oh, he thinks this or she thinks that, or use it to improve. And then the next part down here is to start booking gigs. Okay, like once you've got this, you've got your presentation template down, you've got your marketing, you've got your message in these different formats, you've practiced it a few times, you need to start booking gigs. Don't wait for them to come to you. It just doesn't happen that way, not until you've had some experience. Nowadays, I get people who call me and just invite me to be a speaker. But in the early days, I had to actively reach out to people, lots of people, to be able to get in front of others. Like I had to almost beg when I first started out, and like by offering free things and stuff like that. But then I built the reputation that people really enjoyed what I offered. People learned a lot from me, so they would start telling others. They'd book me at other organizations. In fact, one of my best speeches came from something that I did for free. So I spoke at an event absolutely free, and I gave a free offer. And at that time, I did not even have a CRM set up, so I didn't even have anything to collect. I was just giving out free stuff and not collecting email addresses. This was way early on. And there was somebody in the audience. She was actually a leader of a women's organization as well. And she came up to me afterwards and asked me if I would be interested in speaking in Florida. And I was like, what? And so my first thing that was running through my mind is, how would I get to Florida? I don't have money to get to Florida, right? Like this was like 7 or 8 years ago. And she said, we're going to pay for you to come. We're going to pay for your hotel. You just need to pay for your food. And I was like, yes. And so I get there, and you guys, I expected this was going to be like a normal hotel, right? Like a Holiday Inn or something, like what I would book if I paid for it myself. No, guys, this was a 5-star resort. Like every day they came and gave me new toiletries, and even like bath salts and everything. It was amazing. They paid for that for me, and they paid me $1,000 to be there, and they paid for my trip. At the time, I was like, I am not this good a speaker. Who do they think I am? And I only had to give a 45-minute talk. The event itself was a 5-day event. My talk was only 45 minutes, and they did all of that. And I did not believe in myself at the time, but they believed in me. And from that, I booked even more gigs. And it's just so once you get started, and that's the hardest part, you guys, is getting started. Your first couple gigs, it's going to be stressful. You're going to be like, oh, nobody wants to hear me speak. Nobody wants to bring me on stage. But then it gets to the point where it's like, why are they even paying me this? Why do they think I'm worth this much money? In fact, that's what made me raise my rates, because like people started paying me more, and I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm worth a little bit more. So your next step then is to start booking gigs. Let's talk about how to book gigs next. But before I teach you how to book them, I want to make sure nobody has a question on your speaker plan.
Well, Cassandra says she's a Toastmaster too.
Mm-hmm.
People who don't think that they are good as their speaker are hesitant to give constructive feedback.
Ah, that's a good point. That is.
But you're good to go, Barb.
All right, thank you. All right, so let's move on to how to find and book speaking gigs. This is a part that is stressful, but could definitely be fun. So the first thing is easy, Google. Okay, so if you put into Google search 3 things: your ideal market, the city or area that you're trying to speak at, and where to find them. So for instance, down below, business owners, Measurable meetup. If you put that into Google search, you will find a lot of networking groups for business owners. Did someone have a question?
I have to unmute everyone.
Oh, all good?
Yep, all good.
Okay, perfect.
All good.
All right, thank you. So Google search your ideal market, the area you're looking to speak in, and where somebody might be. So if you do put in this business owners Measurable meetup, you'll find a lot of networking groups that are meeting for business owners and entrepreneurs. Many of you probably even belong to these groups, right? This is how I first started. I was just searching all these groups, and then and the next step I think is on my next slide, actually. I think I did it, yeah. So then after I found, let's say I found a networking group that meets in Maryville and they have a specific place. The next thing I need to do is do my homework. I need to know what they're looking for. Like, what kind of group are they? Is it all business owners? Obviously, Rotary is different than a networking group. Kiwanis is a little bit different. Each group is a little bit different. So know what their goals are and what they stand for and what they're looking for. And then send an email to whoever's the contact person of that group. And it could just be really simple. It could be like, hey, Mary, I noticed that you are part of the group XYZ Networkers, and I wonder if you guys happen to take outside speakers, because I have a great topic that I'd like to share with your Rotary group, or or whatever group you're talking to. And then you just wait for the email back. A lot of times they'll say something along the lines of, yes, we do take outside speakers. What are your topics, right? Most networking groups are looking for outside speakers. They do use their own people, but they like to bring in outside speakers for other purposes as well. Sometimes they might be confused and say, what do you mean by outside speakers? If they say that, it means they're asking, what are you trying to charge us? Because we don't really have a budget. So that's when you need to clarify that you're willing to speak to them for free about whatever you think they might be interested in when you did the homework on them. For me, if I noticed that a lot of the members that they have, because you can actually, most groups, you can see who the members are, especially if they have a website. Like if I was looking at a chamber, for instance, I could see who the members are right on the website. If I look and notice that 70% of the members don't have social media, I might say, hey, I just noticed that a lot of the members in your group I need is 30 minutes, right? Or 15 or whatever, depending on how long their meetings are. Most organizers will not say no to that, right? They'll be like, yes, because here's what happens. Then Barbara goes and talks to this organization. So many people get value, and then the
Hey, Barbara.
Yes.
Hey, Barbara, you're getting very garbly, like it's hard to hear you.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see. Is this any better or no?
You sound far away.
Really? Okay. Let me see if I can connect via my mobile device. It'll take me a minute to do that. Let me try this. Is this better or no?
I think it sounds better.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, cool. Thank you for letting me know. So yeah, most organizers are not going to tell you no, that you cannot come speak if you've got a great topic. That's why you have to do the other things before this. You've got to have your talk down. You've got to know who your market is and what your message is. You've got to know how much time you could present this in, because what might happen is they'll respond back and say, yeah, you know, Barbara, I'd love to have you come speak on that, but we only have 10 minutes available. Could you do it in 10 minutes? Yes, I can, right? Because I've got a 15-minute presentation that I could just, you know, chop down a bit, or the 5-minute presentation that I could just add something to it. So know what you have available, so that when they come back with their questions, you're able to quickly get booked. Okay, and most times when you first start out, you're going to be offering a free talk similar to what I just did. You find the group, do your homework on them, send the email, do you take outside speakers, and then offer to come and speak for free. Does anyone have questions on that?
Looks like you're good to go.
All right, that's a pretty simple process, right? It's like 4 steps, right? I should have got it down to 3, easy as 1, 2, 3, right? Google, do your homework, send email, offer free talk. Super easy. All right, let's move forward then. If you decide that you want to use speaking as a way to really make money, or to get exposure, or to gain leads, you've got to set measurable goals, because how do you know if it's working for you if you don't have your goals set? So some examples would be, how many gigs do you want to have per month? That's how many times can you get in front of someone. In the industry, we call it gigs, speaking gigs. How many new leads do you want from your free offers? How many new clients do you want to close from those leads, right? So just keep in mind that, for instance, if you want to get 1 new client per month from your leads, you're probably going to need to get at least 10 people to fill out your free offer, and you'll probably need at least 50 people in the room to offer the free offer to. Okay, which means in order to get in front of 50 people, depending on which types of groups you're doing, you may need to be at 2 or 3 gigs per month. So you've got to know your numbers, and especially if you decide to go into speaking full time. And many of you may be thinking right now that, no way, I don't want to do speaking full time. I hardly want to do it at all. but the truth of the matter is that you may find yourself there without anticipating it. Most people don't believe me when I tell them this, but I am actually by nature an introvert. Normally, I don't approach people. In fact, you guys, this is our 4th call. And this was the very first call that I started saying hi to you guys on before the call, because I'm an introvert. I'm very nervous about talking to new people that I don't know. Right? And I don't know if any of you guys noticed that or not, but it's not because I don't like you guys. It's because I'm like awkward when I first start talking to new people. And so I've always been an introvert, never, ever wanted to be a paid speaker. I did like talking, but only to people that I already knew. Right? Like in school, I was talking to my friends. And then as I got older, like it was still just my friends. I was talking to my friends a lot. And yes, I can talk a lot when I know you, but many times it was hard for me to keep a conversation going with a complete stranger. Sometimes I get really awkward that they think something's wrong, and I have to tell them that no, I just sometimes get nervous when I'm talking one-on-one to someone. In fact, I've learned now that I do speak on stage, I'm most of the time more nervous talking one-on-one with someone than I am in front of a whole room of people. But at first it was very nerve-wracking. My first several Toastmaster speeches, even though I felt like comfortable with what I was talking about, the whole time I was like shaking and like my heart was racing. And sometimes it still gets like that, when, especially if I get in a room full of like people that are like really high level executives or something. For some reason I get really nervous. If it's a lot more people than what I'm used to, I sometimes get really nervous. If it's a smaller room than I'm used to, I get nervous. And so the thing is that I never expected to be a professional speaker, if you will. And while that's not necessarily what I do the most right now, that is what I would like to do the most right now. I would like to be a speaker full time. And if you would have asked me that 5 years ago or even 1 year ago, I'd have been like, no way. So those of you who might be thinking that right now, that's okay. Because I thought that at one point too. And, you know, look at me now. So just know what your goals are. They don't have to be big. You could even do maybe 1 gig a month or 1 gig every 2 months if you want. Whatever makes sense for what your goals are, but just try to make sure that you keep track of your numbers so that you know what's working and what's not working. So when I do a speaking gig, a lot of times I like to be able to have an offer of some sort, whether free or fee. And I have an assistant who will, like, you know, I tell her how many people were at the event and she puts it in my spreadsheet. And then however many people sign up for the free offer in the next like 7 days goes into there, as we're assuming it's from that speaking gig. And then any new clients that come from those offers gets counted towards that speaking gig. So then I could look back and say, you know what, I spoke to this organization for free, but I made $4,000 out of these people who bought. Right? So it really does benefit you to speak for free and to give free offers. You just got to know when to do it and how to do it. Any questions on the goals?
We do have one comment from Stephanie that she feels nervous asking for funds. She does mostly nonprofit work, and a lot of the travel, hotel, conference is not paid. She needs advice on how to best approach this without seeming money hungry.
Okay, Stephanie, if you don't mind, unmute yourself. I have a few questions to clarify. So when you are speaking for is this for your nonprofit that you typically speak for?
It's basically, I'm asked to go to other areas. For example, I went to a conference down in Indianapolis that was for 𝗍, which is the Nursing Association, and I spoke with the 𝗕𝗶𝗱 Foundation CEO about my story and, you know, why things need to change with healthcare and, you know, things like that. You know, it's only a couple hours away, but I still had to pay for hotel and travel. So it's like that. So it's basically like donating your time, which, you know, of course I love to do, but it adds up if we keep doing that. So I don't know how to go about doing that in the future without sounding money hungry, you know, or even just getting the hotel covered, even something just cheap, like you said, inexpensive, just getting that covered and getting like maybe gas reimbursement, you know, just to even it out.
Yeah, so what I would recommend doing in that instance would be to be honest, right? So you might say, hey, Jane Doe, I appreciate the offer for this speaking opportunity. I'm excited to do it. My answer is yes. I do typically ask if the organization that I'm speaking for is able to pay for a hotel if it's out of town. Hotel is probably the better one to ask for rather than gas reimbursement. Most of the time, if you ask, they'll say yes. Now, there will be times when they might say, you know, that's not in the budget. And then you might just say, well, would you mind then donating to this other organization or something like that, to where you at least get them to, even if it's not directly to you paid, you're helping to meet goals for your passion, right? Whatever organizations you might want to help benefit, maybe ask them to donate to.
That sounds good. Thank you so much. Because it's one of those things where with the work that we do, I never say no because it's helping people, you know, it's helping save lives. So yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome. And you might even say, I had one client who didn't feel comfortable, not for speaking, but for her services. She didn't feel comfortable charging because she thought it was a gift from God and she didn't want to charge for it. But I told her that, you know, like, you've got this gift and you should be getting paid for it. So the way that I got her comfortable to get paid for it was that she would say, I don't charge for this. I just, but if you'd like to pay me, this is typically what people usually pay. right? So you might say, I typically, you know, I'm happy to do it for free since it's a non-for-profit. But if you guys are willing to pay, my hourly rate is this amount, or something like that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So Barbara, what are some examples of things that you offer, both the fee ones and the free ones?
Me personally?
Yes.
Okay, so for, let's use the example of the presentation I'm doing in a couple weeks, the how to build a consistent and credible brand. So when I'm doing that presentation, the free offer that I would give, if I were giving the free offer that time, would be to that 100-point checklist, which would tell them 100 things they need to focus on their social media to make sure they're showing up the way they want people to see them. If I was going to offer a paid thing, depending on the audience, there is 2 different paid options. I have a small offer and a large offer. The small offer is the $99 for the, it's called an online presence analysis, where basically I take that 100-point checklist and I do my research on you, and I tell you everything that the public is seeing about you online that you may not even realize, and what they're thinking based on what's showing up about you on social media, on your website, how it looks. Do you look professional? Would I trust you? I tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then I tell you how to fix those things. So that costs $99 for my tips, right? And my hourly rate is $200. And so you're getting me at a discounted rate in that instance. But then I also have the larger offer, which is called a social media starter kit. So if I'm teaching and I can tell that a lot of people in the audience really want social media help, and they've already decided like, yeah, I need help. Then what I offer them then is what I call my social media starter kit. And what that is 3 months of done for you social media, templates that we create for you, free training for 3 months, kind of the whole 9 yards of all the social media stuff that we do for 3 months at the price of like 1 month. And there's no contract. You just do it for 3 months. If you like us and you want to continue on, you pay our regular rate. But if you don't want to continue on for whatever reason, there's no obligation. So, and that price is $799 for the 3-month package. So that would be an example of just that one talk, how I've got the 3 different offers. Does that help?
I think that's really good. Thank you.
You are welcome. All right, anything else yet? I think we have another slide or 2 left. All right, I'm going to go on then. All right, a couple things that you want to consider if you do go full-time. You don't need to worry about these yet if you're not full-time. But if you become a full-time speaker, you want to have a website, right, that is specific to your speaking. You want to have what's called a speaker one sheet, which is basically like a flyer of all the things you can talk about. So if when you do send the email and say, do you take outside speakers? If somebody says, yes, what are your topics? Rather than just sending a bunch of like words, you could send a nice speaker one sheet that has a beautiful image of you and your topics and your bio, because then they can also use that when they're introducing you and when they're creating their marketing material and stuff like that. A media kit, in case you ever go real big time, right? So a media kit is where you'll have your headshot in there, your bio in there, your talking points, anything that somebody might need to use to market you is all in one nice, easy place. Whether that's a page on your website, whether that's a folder in your Google Drive, whatever that is, you have some kind of media kit. You want to have an easy booking form. Some of you on this call have already booked with me through my booking form, but mine is, so I use a company that's called You Can Book Me, and it goes right through my Google Calendar. So I have a few different booking forms. I have the one that's just to have a one-on-one with me. I have an option to pick Barbara's brain, right? I get a lot of times when people are like, hey, can I just pick your brain for a moment? For a long time, I used to let people do that for free, but then it got out of hand. People were picking my brain all day long, and I was getting worn out, and I wasn't getting paid for it. So now I charge to pick my brain, and people buy it left and right. And you can talk about whatever you want on that session. And then you could have a promo video, right? Like one of those like 3-minute videos that shows you in action speaking so that people can see if they want to hire you, if you're relatable to their audience, if you're somebody who would be well received with their audience. And then of course, if you go full time, this is when you definitely need to have a social media presence. You should be all over the internet as a speaker if you ever go full-time as a speaker. If you don't plan to go full-time as a speaker, or if you're not there yet, you don't need to worry about these 6 things yet. Don't stress over them. Just start with the basics that we talked about earlier.
So Barb, how do you determine your fees for speaking engagements? And then the next question is, would you charge for a 15-minute speech?
So it depends. Most of my 15-minute speeches I don't charge for. I usually do the free to free. So I usually give a free offer at those as well, because I don't have enough time to really share my real expertise. So I usually use free to free model for the 15-minute presentations, but there's not really a cookie cutter answer for that. It would all depend on you, but that's me personally. And then the other question you had said, I'm sorry, what was the other question?
How do you determine your fees?
And that's a great question. You determine them the same way that you determine fees when you're a service-based business, or even a product-based that maybe you determine that you created. You create the first price that you think based on research you've done. So look for somebody else who's doing something similar to you that maybe has the same amount of expertise and or experience, and model what their price is. Let's say if you start off at $100 an hour, for instance, because that's what you came up with on the research, and you're not getting anybody to hire you, then you might need to lower it. If you're getting a lot of people to hire you at that rate, then you need to hire it. So
thank you.
Yeah, you raise your rate when your calendar is full, and you lower it if it's not full. Actually, it's not always your rate that you need to change if you're not booking your calendar. Sometimes it is your presentation title or your presentation topic. It's not always your price, but it could be your price.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Any questions on these things that you might consider if you go full time? All righty. Let me see, I think that was the last one. Yep. So in the next 24 hours, I will get to share this PowerPoint presentation and the recorded video so that you guys can watch it. And Sherry, I'm going to put it over to you, because I know you guys you got a certificate of completion for some people, and I don't know, maybe you'll tell them how they could get that, or whatever announcements you have. Oh, and I just want to say one last thing. I'm sorry. Since this is our last time together, please take my contact information. It's on the screen. Even if you wait 10 years to use it, write it down now. Connect with me on social media. Please feel free to reach out to me.
So Cassandra, you should be getting an email of the link. We'll make certain that you're on our email. Did you get the agenda for that was sent out yesterday or on Monday? Okay, so Cassandra, type in your email address for me, and I'll make certain that you're on that list, okay? And then you'll be able to see all the other ones as well. Thanks, Cassandra. Renee says hers is going to spam, so you may want to check your spam. Okay, so Sherry, Barb said you're wrapping this up today.
I'm sorry, Andrea, what was it?
Barb said you're wrapping this up today about certificates and everything, so I'm turning it over to you.
Yep, I've been taking attendance, and so we will be creating, and I will be sending out the certificates probably later this week.
Okay, that sounds great. I'm getting a lot of emails here. I got Michelle and Gina and everyone. I'm getting all yours. I'm copying them right now. And I'll make certain that everyone is. Check your junk email in case you think we're junk. We're not junk, not at all. And we'll get that out to you. And I think we're emailing out the certificates. I'm not certain, but Sherry will let you know in the follow-up tomorrow. There's Jeans, okay. Don't close out of this meeting yet, Barb, so I can get everyone's emails addresses that they're going over to it. You're welcome, Sandra. Thank you for being a part of it. Thank you to everyone who's saying thank you to everyone and everyone. Thank you, Barb. Do we have a calendar somewhere that shows where Barbara is speaking and what topics? I would think that would be on Barbara's website. Okay. All right, I think I have everyone. Remember, join the committee, get involved. You get what you put out. You get what you get for what you put in it, or something like that. So get involved. We have, chair positions open. There's lots to do. And I mean, this is really a great group of women here. I feel so blessed that I have them. And it's really great when you can pick some of our brains. And Barb, I really appreciate it, because I get exactly what you're saying about picking your brains and charging. But within our organization, most of us, you can call us and you can pick your brain and say, hey, I'm confused. I don't understand this. How would you handle this? And this group of ladies is just really phenomenal. So, don't be shy. Reach out and connect with people. And it's even harder now. We do have our networking event on September 22nd. There is 8 spots left. It's a free event for all NEWA members. It's going to be at Anderson Winery. All social distancing in place. But if you want to sign up, go to our website and sign up today, because it will be sold out. So we're only taking 50 spots, so we can make sure that we adhere to social distancing, etc. So that's a great way to meet people. And then we'll be looking at doing a virtual event as well. We'll have a couple of our webinars coming up, and we're working on those as well, some more educational webinars. So everyone, thank you very much. Barbara, you have anything else? Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
That's what I wanted to